How not to write fictional male characters. Broly from the Dragon Ball Z anime series, or just the Dragon Ball anime franchise in general. So this particular character is not actually from the Dragon Ball Z show or the manga. This is a character that appears in one of the Dragon Ball Z movies. And Broly has had 3 movies thus far, 3 interpretations, 3 appearances for the series. And that's not counting the new Broly film that's coming out, the Dragon Ball Super movie, which seems to be a prequel to the events of Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan, which is Broly's first official appearance within the series. And so there's not really much to say about this character. There's one big glaring issue with the character of Broly. But before I explain what that is, I want to really delve into the character's backstory. So Broly is another Saiyan who was born on planet Vegeta before Frieza destroyed it within the timeline. Broly was born at around the same time as Goku. And the reason Broly is upset or he's angry is because when Broly was a baby, he would get disturbed and upset at Goku, who was also an infant at the time. The fact that Goku would cry, as any infant would, really disturbed Broly to the point that he developed a seething hatred for Goku because Goku was crying as an infant. It's just as stupid as it sounds. But that's the reason why Broly is essentially pissed off at Goku. And that's really it. There's no other motivation for Broly's character. He's upset at Goku because Goku was crying as an infant, and that upset him, and so he hates Goku, and because he hates Goku, they have to fight. Broly is the perfect example of what's wrong with the Dragon Ball franchise. There's a lot of weak writing with certain characters who are just so underdeveloped and just pretty much are nothing more than excuses to have these characters on screen fighting one another. And that's what Broly is. If you look at his design, he is muscular to the point of being completely laughable and unrealistic. And he has the ridiculous Super Saiyan hair and whatnot. And that works for the other characters on the show, but Broly, his design takes it to a level where it doesn't even really work for Dragon Ball. It's just stupid. Broly is essentially a video game character that was made for the anime series. The only time I've ever partially liked Broly is when I'm playing as him in a video game. It seems that's what he was created to do, because there's nothing about his story that's deep. There's nothing about his backstory that makes any sense. This character gets not 1, not 2, but 3 Dragon Ball Z specials, and not one of them managed to successfully add anything in terms of depth to his character. And that's just for Dragon Ball Z. Now he has a 4th movie coming out with Dragon Ball Super. And it's like the character needs this many different specials in order to try and flesh him out, I guess. That's the intention, or that's what Akira Toriyama, the series creator of Dragon Ball, is that what he's trying to do with Broly? Is make him an actual good character at this point? Because it's kind of too late for that. There are a lot of great characters in Dragon Ball Z. There's Vegeta, there's Trunks, there's Gohan, there's Piccolo, there's Krillin. Each and every single one of these characters has a motivation. So they have a purpose, a point for being in the series. Even Goku, who isn't the strongest Dragon Ball character, despite the fact that he's the main character, he has a backstory that's very similar to Superman, an alien who crash lands on Earth. Goku's story is a bit different from Superman's. He was supposed to destroy the planet. That's what he was sent there for. But Goku bumped his head after he crash landed, and that changed his personality. And as dumb as that sounds, there's something lighthearted about that works for Goku's character. Broly, there's nothing about his character that's good. His backstory is stupid. His design is dumb. He gets his ass kicked in 3 different movies, and now you're going to give him a 4th one to get his ass kicked in. What's the point of this character? Broly is the worst Dragon Ball Z character. He has no point to exist. There's nothing about his character that I can look at and say, this character has a purpose for being in this series. I can't say that with Broly. So I look at a character like Broly and I ask myself, is there any way that a character like this could have been salvaged? Potentially, yes. For me personally, I would have had some kind of childhood interaction between Broly and Goku. Perhaps Broly was also sent to Earth along with Goku, and they were both partially raised by Grandpa Gohan, who raised Goku, and perhaps Goku was favored more than Broly was, and Broly began to develop his anger for Goku that way, because he felt that he was being underappreciated. That would have been a much stronger backstory than whatever bullshit Akira Toriyama came up with for this character. And I just came up with that off the top of my head. There's so many different things that Akira Toriyama could have done with this character, and he just didn't. The end result is one of the worst villains, one of the worst fictional characters that I can possibly think of. Broly is terrible. He's an awful character. You have to give your villain a backstory, but not just a backstory. You have to give them you have to give your villain a backstory that actually makes sense. So you can somewhat sympathize with the antagonist. I can't sympathize with Broly because he's upset that the main character was crying too much as a baby. That's stupid. And it doesn't even make any sense, because how would Broly even remember something like that? Because he was an infant himself at the time this was going on. Like I said, it's dumb. This character definitely had potential to be something great. Unfortunately, Broly is the perfect example of what not to do when you write fictional male characters. He's especially a great example of what not to do when you write fictional antagonists. Appearances aren't everything. You have to give your character a good story. And Broly does not have a good story.